Rashayla, welcome to LSAT Unplugged.
Thank you.
So I'd love to hear a little more from you about what your experience is like with regard to law school, the online transition, where you're at with all of that.
Okay, well, I guess I should first introduce myself. I am Rashayla Jackson. I am a rising 2L at LSU Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and my second semester of law school was basically online. And so the transition was... So initially, a lot of my classmates, we were like excited, we're going online, because all the other schools started canceling and LSU was like really dragging its feet with the canceling, with the like moving online thing. And so maybe March 13th, that Friday, the Thursday before, we found out we were going online, and we would get a week break for the teachers, to figure it out. And then we were moving online. And so then some of my teachers decided to do asynchronous, meaning they would just post the PowerPoints, you take your notes, you show up for the final. And then some of my professors decided to do synchronous, where we logged onto Zoom at the same time as you would be if you were in class. And so it was definitely a transition, especially for classes that had like heavy dialogue. It was harder to do online. And then when it came to like cold calling and things like that, teachers still wanted to do that. And I'm just like, I'm laying in my bed and you gonna try to cold call me? That's cruel and unusual punishment. And so one of my professors did it really well with the cold calling. She released a list of people, 5 people a day were on call. And so that made it a little bit easier. Another one of my professors just like was popcorning, calling people every day. And like people would pop in and be like, I'm sorry, I went to the restroom. And you would see puppies, and my mom is an essential worker, and my aunt's an essential worker. So I had my little cousins running around. It was very different than the normal law school experience. And I feel like I got to know my classmates a little more because now I'm like in their personal life, in their personal space. But it was definitely an experience. And then for finals, we all know about 1L finals. They're your first finals in the fall, and they're really stressful. But these finals were like open book, open note. Our school went to pass, fail, and then they gave you 24 hours. I don't know if all schools did that, but they gave us 24 hours from the moment you opened it to submit it. And so I think the hardest thing for me with that was I'm a perfectionist, and I wanted to use every single second, even though the test really didn't require every single second. And so I had to tell myself that a passing exam is not a perfect exam, because you'll stress yourself out doing that. And so some of my classmates were like, oh, that test took me 5 hours, after we got our scores back or our passing grades or whatever. And I'll be like, I spent all day on that test, which it wasn't required. So, it's definitely been a transition. This summer, I'm in summer classes, and it's been completely asynchronous. And for the fall, half of mine are online and half of mine are in class. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, it sounds like a complete roller coaster. Wow.
Oh, definitely.
It was interesting to hear how the classmates, you might actually get to know them better because you're really like seeing into their bedrooms and You're seeing their puppies. I've heard some of the professors have mixed feelings on the PJs in bed and puppies in the lap. Have you experienced any of that?
So our professors really love the puppies.
Oh, that's nice.
Love the puppies.
So they're human beings.
Yes, they really enjoyed the puppies. Now the PJs, I don't know, because most of the time I had my camera off. Most of the time I had my camera off, unless it was like one of my favorite professors, then I would have my camera on because I wanted her to know I was engaged. But most of the time my camera was off anyway. So there are some of my classmates that were definitely still in their PJs. And like for like our classmates that are in a relationship, you can tell they were in the same place. I feel like you really got to know them a little bit better.
Right, exactly. Of course, the significant other milling about in the background or even making noise sometimes potentially.
Or they're in the same class and you can get the little feedback because one computer is over here and the other one is over here. No, it was definitely an experience.
Oh boy, yeah, I'll imagine so. So as you look towards going this fall, you said half online, half in person. I mean, what's half in person going to be like? Is that going to be a half empty classroom and you're all wearing masks? What have you heard about that?
So they sent us an email telling us we could opt for all online if we wanted to, but some of my classmates have all online anyway because the classes they selected, all of them just happened to transition to online. I think we might end up having a couple empty classrooms because of the option to opt in. And like when you're opt into all online, and like, for example, I live with my mom, so I'm already in Baton Rouge. I don't have any outside places I could go. But let's say you're not from Baton Rouge, you don't want to pay rent or things like that. So you might opt in for all online because it's cost efficient and it allows you to be at home. I'm just not a at-home learner. It's hard to separate work and home life and school and home life when you're always at home. So I think that was one of my biggest struggles. So I won't be opting into all online. I will be going to campus with my mask and my Lysol wipes. But I'm very interested to see where it goes. In my honest opinion, I feel like COVID might take back off in September and we'll be back online permanent, like until the foreseeable future.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm inclined towards the same sort of prediction just based on how things have run up to this point. It seems like that's the more likely course of action. And if you're on the fence about something, assume online, because at least that way, if you go online, you're not going to have to suddenly go in person. But the reverse obviously is very likely to happen. And these universities, they were planning on being in person back in June, and then second waves, or the second half of the first wave came along, and then suddenly they're all having to scramble. So it seems like a rough situation to be in.
Yeah, so our current plan is 50% capacity, of course, and that might change due to Louisiana regulations. But we don't come back after Thanksgiving. So we'll have another round of open book, open note finals. And then I guess they'll reevaluate for January. So we'll just see where that goes. The only thing I feel like is going to be a problem is when it's time for me to take closed book finals again. I'm not going to know how to do it. But other than that, I think we'll be back online. I think coming back in person is just prolonging the inevitable, because I feel like COVID is growing like wildfire. And by October, we'll probably be back virtual.
We will see. Yeah. So one last question for you. A lot of the people watching on my end, the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel and podcast, they're entering 1Ls, a lot of them, or even maybe going a year from now. But for those entering 1L now, where it's very likely to be online only, and they've never even experienced in-person law school, what advice might you have for them based on your online experience up to this point?
So time management is hard when you're actually going, but time management is going to be even harder when you're at home with all these distractions. You can watch Game of Thrones or you can play video games. And I feel like the most important thing would be to set up a schedule now before the school year gets started. I know a lot of schools haven't given out their sections yet, but you're going to have roughly 5 to 6 classes. Set up your schedule now of how, like, this is what I'm going to study. I'm going to work out here. I'm going to watch TV here, because that's really important, because time can easily escape from you when you're at home. And try to be diligent about it. Stick to your schedule. Do not take a nap at 11 o'clock. Get up at a reasonable hour, because I think the quickest thing to lose track of is your time when you're at home.
That is fantastic advice, and so much of it would apply to LSAT prep as well at home. Getting anything done, really being productive when you've got that situation that may not be so conducive to it. So definitely encourage folks to take that seriously. Thank you for that, Rochelle. So do you want to share a little bit about your YouTube channel for those watching on my end?
So I have a YouTube channel. I started a series of So You Think You Want to Go to Law School, and it talks about my experience, because I began as a pre-med major, planning to go to med school. My degree is in biology, and I transitioned to wanting to go to law school maybe my junior year of college, kept my biology major, and graduated with that degree and came to law school. And so it starts there. I talk about the LSAT a little bit. I talk about your application and your resume and your personal statement and things like that. And so I'm not completely done with the series. I put it on pause while I was finishing up with class and things, but my next video is going to be on negotiating your scholarships. So I would really hope that you would tune in. My YouTube channel is at _Shayla J. That's CHALAJ. And I would hope to see you subscribe and follow my channel.
Well, Rashayla, that's a very important project. And I, for one, will definitely be watching the negotiating scholarships because that is endlessly fascinating to me. And to me, that sort of thing, law school scholarship money is some of the easiest money you'll ever make with a few emails back and forth.
Easiest money.
Yes.
Because I got a full ride based off negotiation. So it's like really important.
Yeah. And it all ties together. And it all ties together as well. I mean, I'm coming at it from the LSAT side, but getting a few points more, that's leverage. And then if you could be cold and hard with those emails, not being mean or anything, but owning your power around this process, the fact that you can have a massive impact, I think that's incredibly important. Especially
if it's a school that you want to go to and you have offers from other schools that are not that interesting. You have leverage. You definitely do.
Yeah, so I'll definitely link to your channel below so folks can check it out, especially your upcoming videos in the series. So thank you, Rashayla. And folks watching on your end can find me, Steve Schwartz, over at the LSAT blog, as well as the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel and podcast. Tons of information on the process, but check out Rashayla's series as well. So Rashayla, thank you again. Really appreciate your taking the time.
No problem.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.